This episode of Shooting from the Lip is brought to you by the County Line, Louisville's last honky-tonk bar, located at 1891 Old Preston Highway in Hillview, Kentucky. Manager and bartender Chris Lucien invites you to check out live music every weekend, Friday and Saturday nights. Check out their Facebook page, The County Line. Mention Shooting from the Lip on Friday nights and get Jack Daniel's Honey for $3.
Shooting from the Lip features views and opinions from smart, funny, serious, and not so serious people. This show is intended for a mature and not so mature audience. Enjoy the show!
What is up, people? Kevin Hale up in this Shooting from the Lip studio this Monday night, October 17th, 2016. Doing the deed tonight with my partner in crime, the one and only Russ Hinkle. Reality Russ.
What's going on, man? Just I'm a little under the weather, a little worn out, and not.
You've had a rough weekend.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You've had a rough weekend, rough day. You shared with me what went on with you. We'll leave it at that, but you are a trooper for hanging with me, giving me some time tonight, and I appreciate it. Let's try to turn that frown upside down, brother.
Oh, let's do it.
Social media, you can find our show on iTunes and YouTube. Subscribe to those connections, please. SoundCloud and the Stitcher apps is where we can also be found. Twitter at The Shooting Lip, at Kevin Hale 423, at Reality Russ. You can also like us, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Shooting from the Lip. Live tonight via Blog Talk Radio. Got a heavy show tonight, Russ. First segment, Donna Halper, one of our favorites, is going to come back. She was on our 200 show, which was a pleasure for us, but she's coming on tonight, not talking music. She had a blog recently. It's kind of a follow-up to the whole Trump groping, fiasco, and her blog. It's titled Why Women, Including Me, Herself, Don't Always Come Forward. See what Donna has to say about that. And then the second segment, Carrie Goforth, who's a local nutritional consultant, fitness model, will be on promoting, again, doing our best to promote the local people. First up, I got to start out with you. Here's the soundbite.
To save time, who here has not been groped by Donald Trump? I mean, I wish I could tell you how many women it is who are making accusations, but I haven't refreshed my server in 10 minutes. There's a lot of things people don't like about Hillary Clinton, but when she rubs you the wrong way, it's just an expression. Of course, some of these accusations of infidelity happened when he was married to Melania, which is very sad. Melania, poor sweet girl, she has locked herself in her packing crate. But see, the problem for Donald Trump with all these accusers is that there is a corroborating witness, Donald Trump.
Do you buy into all of this, Russ? All the allegations that have come forth? Now, granted, before you answer, now, yes, it is right before the election, which is, typically kind of the MO for a lot of bad things to get, to come to surface, when it comes to these. So, one, are you surprised that it has come up? And two, do you think they're true?
Well, I can first say it doesn't matter if it is true or not, as far as what Trump has already bragged about. It's the funny thing that I remember is the New York Times article where basically New York Times he was going to sue the New York Times for posting or for putting articles out there about a couple of his accusers. And for libel or something like that, and they said, well, in order to be liable, you must prove that what we said harms your character in some way. And then they went on to articulate that, blah, blah, blah. You've already, bragged about being a vagina grabbing, guy who will walk up and just kiss a girl without even, getting her, her okay on the matter. So, how exactly are we hurting your, character with these things? You've already admitted to these things. So anyway, so it doesn't matter one way or the other if it's true, but that aside, completely unbiased, it seems like it would be reasonable to believe that it's true.
Mm-hmm. And, afterwards, Well, it's not really afterwards. He's been saying this for a while, that the whole election is rigged when it comes to Washington, the media, and with his hardcore base, there's already been death threats to, actually in this case, the Arizona Republic newspaper, they were bombarded with death threats because this is a newspaper that's religiously, that's not the right word for you, but routinely endorses the Republican candidate. And this time they're not. They're going with Hillary. So, when he makes the claim that the election is rigged, and he is on this stance right now that it's basically him against, everybody, the media, Washington, and his hardcore people are listening to him. I mean, isn't he just setting certain actions in motion for people to, revolt or, try to do something against the system?
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, this is all manipulation on his part to send people into a frenzy to get more people to the people that normally won't come out. They'll just talk about voting, that don't vote. He's trying to get them to actually go out and vote, or at least do something, detrimental to the people who might vote against him. So yeah, it's a call to arms in a way that he probably doesn't even quite realize. But I mean, he's just, any reasonable, rational person can see that Donald Trump's a bad idea. I mean, and again, this is, I'm not a Hillary supporter. I've never voted for a Democrat. I got in a battle with one guy on Facebook, and he's like, "Oh, you're just a Democrat apologist, blah blah blah." This, that, that. I said, "No, never voted for a Democrat." Now, I didn't vote for John McCain because I don't think any smart person would vote for Sarah Palin, any ticket that Sarah Palin was on. And then I didn't vote for Mitt Romney because, come on, he's a Mormon. He believes in a fairy tale that was based on a fairy tale based on another fairy tale. So it was like 3 fairy tales before you get to his real, or 2 fairy tales before you even get to his fairy tale. So yeah, I couldn't do that. But I've never voted for a Democrat for president in my life. I don't know if I have in any election for that matter. So for me to say all this, I don't support Hillary either, Trump goofballs. I think anybody who blindly would support Hillary the same way that a Trump supporter blindly supports Trump is a goofball. So,
there was there was another interesting thing over the weekend. I think it was in New Hampshire, where Trump accused Hillary of being on drugs and demanded that she take a drug test before the next presidential debate. This is, again, the sideshow that he creates. Is it really, at this point, really, is it all this stuff that he just cannot help but to spew out? Is that, what is his rhyme and reason for this, Russ?
I think at a certain point there is no more rhyme or reason. The only thing left for the proverbial fat lady to sing, to use a Trump line. But I think at this point though, it's just a complete bad loser mentality. But it really is. It's at some point he's actually trying to assassinate the fiber of the country when he starts, trying to get people to be even more divided. There's something sinister behind it. It just seems sinister for some reason to me. But I think what it is mainly is that he's got some kind of reality TV show planned after this, where he starts his own network. There's been like some articles and stuff like this where he's got plans to do his own network, Trump like TV. Oprah or something. So he's doing it. It's like professional wrestling or the Jerry Springer show. They will hold that they have absolutely no boundaries when it comes to just abusing even our political arena for publicity and recognition and fame or money and fame. They'll even go this far if they can get away with it. And this probably started out as a publicity stunt with Trump, and then it turned into something completely different. And now he's realized he's probably wrote it out, and he probably doesn't even want to be president. Truth be told, he has to play the role. But there's a strong chance, based on his actions and the crazy shit that he just keeps saying, that he doesn't even want to be president.
That's a good argument. All right, there's other topics I'll throw at you for your real views, Russ. But let's go on and hit it with our first segment. Our first guest, Donna Halper, author, professor, media historian, blogger, former broadcaster, radio consultant, ties to my favorite band, Rush. She was one of our sweethearts to grace us for our 200th show, Russ. Donna Halper, welcome to the show.
Oh, it's so nice to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's like it's still your seat's
I feel like I live here,
warm.
guys. I mean, we're going to have to stop meeting this way, you know?
I know. Rumors will start. And trust me, when it comes to Russ, usually those rumors are true. Wouldn't you say, Russ?
Can I make a comment about something you just said while I was listening?
Yes,
I really think, and it actually kind of relates to something that I wrote, since we're going to be discussing my blog post. There are some people for whom it's all about power, okay? Their entire life is about wanting it, wanting to get it, wanting to keep it, and wanting to stop other people from having it. I have no idea whether Donald Trump really wants to be president, but I do know he lives for the applause. He's a creature of the media. He was founded and created by the media. He became the guy on The Apprentice that said, "You're fired." And I think he really got into that persona to the point where if you act a certain way long enough, you start believing that's who you are. And I really do believe that he just gets into having people just wildly applauding him. There's a cult of personality around him that I find really scary, okay? And it has nothing to do with, is he a Republican, is he a Democrat, is he a what? I get very nervous when anyone in an audience is ready to do violence on behalf of a candidate, okay? I don't care who the candidate is. But when I hear people saying, "Oh, yeah, I'd go out and shoot Hillary," I'm like, you don't say that. Please don't say that. We can disagree. You can not like Hillary. You can think Hillary shouldn't be president. But I don't wish her any harm. I don't wish Trump any harm. I don't wish Bernie any harm. I don't wish any of this cast of characters any harm. I think some of them are better for the country than others. But the moment we start talking about we're going to eliminate the other side, I just get really nervous. I just really get nervous.
Totally agree. As Russ pointed out, and I like where Russ is coming from. Russ, made mention that he's never voted Democratic, for a Democrat, but he would never, he has this disdain for Trump. As Russ, you call him, he's the ultimate con man. And then something, where Obama recently made the comments at one of these Hillary functions or gatherings that the GOP, well, not just the GOP. To your point on it, the media has made Trump. The media has bought into him.
And that's the hypocrisy of it all. And by the way, candidates have run against the media since time immemorial, okay? I cannot tell you how many candidates at one time or other have talked about the biased, unfair media. They may not have always called it the media. Sometimes they used to call it the press. But it's the same thing. It's like, we're being treated unfairly. We have all these grievances, And I just sit there going, wow, I really do want my country back. But it's got nothing to do with race, creed, or color. I want a country back where we're all Americans and where the person who wins fairly and the person who loses is a gentleman or a lady about the whole thing, shakes the other person's hand, and goes on with their life. I just don't like where we're heading right now. I really don't. And I have voted for Republicans. I have voted for Republicans. I am a Democrat. I'm center-left. But I have absolutely voted for moderate Republicans in the past. There is no way. And I have Republican friends who have said to me, I will vote for Hillary. Because she's reasonable, she's sane. I can picture her on the world stage. I know that she wouldn't get upset because somebody tweeted something, and it's just bizarre. It's utterly bizarre. And I say that, as I have said to you many times before, I say that as a Bernie supporter, okay? So, it's fine with me if we have President Hillary, fine with me. It would have been finer if we had President Bernie, but Bernie wasn't electable. So I still think he would have been a gentleman about the whole thing. I would like to see Mr. Trump be a gentleman about if he loses instead of this rigged media thing. I mean, give it a rest.
I don't see that happening. I can only imagine what November 9th is going to look like in response in his views. All the late night tweets from Trump after the debate or the election is over.
Well, that's
it is
what
going to
bothers
be.
me. I mean, as a professor of political communication, I am not accustomed to candidates who name call on social media. Okay? I mean, we're going to talk about my blog post in a couple of minutes. That's what I've been going through. I've been going through having various Trump supporters calling me names on social media. I've never seen anything like this before. I'm really accustomed to publishing stuff. Come on, I've written 6 books. I've written bunches of articles. I've been quoted in all kinds of places. I don't mind if people disagree with me. I'm fine with that. But what I'm not fine with is the total lack of courtesy, the name calling, and it starts from the top. If your fearless leader is doing this, then I guess you're going to do it too. And in the immortal words of Mr. Trump, all I can say is sad. It really is.
Well, let's. This is with our show, Donna. We're straight shooters. Not the.
No, really?
Pun intended with
I
our
thought
show
you hold
name.
back. I thought you just kind of hold back. In fact, I was going to invite you to just not be so. Just don't
not
hold
so
back.
be. Yeah. Russ, you
I never know where you stand
there?
on the issues. I never know where you stand. You know what I'm saying?
Russ, you alive and kicking over there, Russ?
Oh yes, I'm here. I'm just kind of under the weather, like I said, not my normal self.
So
I know my allergies are killing me, but never mind.
All right, now this, Donna, you did put out a blog a few days ago, but I have to do this because to me this is what helped. Maybe in my thinking is what helped you do the blog and has since resonated with the United States. Check us out.
I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Whatever you want. Grab them by the pussy.
I had to play that, and if I'd offended, my utter apologies. But that's the real truth with him. That is somebody, as you pointed out, that is living and breathing the power, and he feels like he's untouchable. But
and the men that did what they did to me, they all seemed to share that attitude of, I can do whatever I want. And if you don't like it, well, you're just you're a whiner, you're a biatch, you're this, you're that. You're supposed to just put up with it and be cheerful about it.
Well, let's go to your blog, because one of the things I noticed, and I want you to speak freely on however you want to go with this, is that in the 70s, back in that day, that era, and in the 80s, men truly could get away with any and everything.
Absolutely.
Obviously, that time has changed now. But take us back. Your blog. What was the was the blog in a sense response to Trump, and then just take us on what your mindset was when you did it.
As I said in the second paragraph, I said, over the past week, as I watched the ongoing debate about whether Donald Trump did in fact sexually assault women, and as I listened to him and his supporters claiming that he was the victim of an orchestrated smear campaign, it just brought back a bunch of memories. And it brought back memories of a couple of things that happened to me in my life that I never thought I would encounter, and that when I did encounter them, I did not expect that the man would act that way, and then that people wouldn't believe me, or that people would blame me, or that people would ask me, what were you wearing? Or, why are you trying to ruin this man's reputation? I'm like, ruin this man's reputation? He sexually assaulted me. Hello? But no, you must have done something. And
right.
I wasn't expecting it. I really wasn't expecting it. And I agonized over whether I should write the post, okay? Because, as I said at the very beginning, I'm not famous. I mean, yes, a few people in the Rush community know who I am. But I'm saying that we tend to, really pay attention to what celebrities write. So, if Angelina Jolie wrote this blog post, oh, my God, it would be shared 60 trillion times. But I was surprised that those memories came up. And what made those memories come up, memories that I have not thought about in years, okay, the things you go to therapy for. And I was just really surprised that they came back up again because it was his attitude. As I tried to say to some of the Trump fans that were like defending him and saying, well, I said, you didn't read my blog. It wasn't about him. It was about the attitude of certain powerful men, whether they are headmasters at a school, whether they are record company executives, whether they are famous DJs, whether they are celebrities. These are people who really do believe that they can treat women any way they want, and they see nothing wrong with it. And for those of us that have to be in that situation when we didn't expect it, I'm really old-fashioned. I don't like it when somebody I don't know puts their hands on my body. I really don't. Forgive me. But I don't mind shaking hands or hugging somebody. Come on, I'm a basically friendly person. But if you're going to put your hands on my, it's going to be with my permission and because I wanted you to. And the fact that you think you have the right to do it, it just brought it all back. That arrogance, that attitude of I can do what I want, don't you know who I am? And I'm like, yeah, I know who you are. I met you. I really met you. I was in that closet. I was just wondering why I was there. I was a first-year teacher. I was in the supply closet getting some stuff from my classroom. I wasn't dressed provocative, and even if I was, so what? But I wasn't. It was the Boston Public Schools, and it was the early 70s, and it was a very conservative time. And I was just in there just getting some supplies. And the headmaster comes in and locks the door behind me and rubs himself up against me and tells me he thinks I'm attractive. And I'm like, this is not what I expected. This is not what I wanted. And the arrogance to just say, well, there's nothing you can do about this. No one will believe you. He was right. No one did. No one did. And when I went
your
to the
parents
hearing,
did,
my parents did, but I'm talking about the people at the school. Okay, right. I was told not to say anything, leading me to believe now that he must have done this to other women too. Okay, but when I went to have my transfer hearing, they berated me. They were like, you must have done something to give him the impression. I'm like, what impression? I had my back to him and I was picking supplies out of the supply closet. But it doesn't matter. Now I know it's about power. It's about because he can. And it's just, like I said, I hadn't thought about that in, 40 years. But the moment I heard that tape with him bragging about I can do whatever I want, I can grab him by the what, and I'm like, yeah, been there, done that. And, I never thought it would happen. I never thought that people wouldn't believe me. Yeah, sure, my parents believed me, but what could they do? What could they do? And I learned that sometimes people just aren't going to believe you. I learned that sometimes you got to stand up for yourself, but it may not turn out the way you wanted it to. And I also learned that there are some guys out there that are just total jerks. and they are part of this world, and you've got to learn to deal with them. And that was not easy for me. That was not easy at all.
Check this out.
Having it all come back again just wasn't easy either.
I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure. And the courage that you had to purge it, if you will, into a blog. But Russ, I'll throw this out. And I have to admit, Donna, this particular topic tonight is something totally different for Russ and I to kind of talk about. But out of respect for females, I have daughters. Russ has a daughter. Russ, I'll throw this on the table. Russ and I are two guys that, back in the day and me still today, because I'm single, we will interact with females. Russ and I, as confident as we are, Russ, I've never heard you utter those words that Trump said. You've never come across as someone who thought had, the power or privilege, or the okay to just go up and do something. Russ, do you even use Tic Tacs?
The Tic Tac company was very upset about that, by the way. They were like, we don't want to be identified with this. Can I tie this to something that you normally do talk about? Can I tie this to
go
Rush
ahead.
for a second?
All right. Okay.
Contrast the attitude of some rock stars, and I must tell you that I had Meatloaf grabbed me. Yes, he did. Meatloaf grabbed a whole bunch of people. At the time, I believe Meatloaf was still drinking. He will own this. He's not a bad guy. But I'm saying he came around to our radio station and he just grabbed every chick that was there, because he could. And,
Because he could.
yeah. But contrast that with Rush. I mean, you saw the Rush documentary, okay?
Yeah.
Where Gene Simmons says, we tried to get groupies for Getty, and he just no, he wasn't interested. He's in love with his girlfriend, who became his wife. I have been backstage with Rush so many times. They have never been anything other than gentlemen. And this was even in the early days when they didn't know me from last year's snowstorm, okay?
Right.
This is just how they are. So I can't just say, well, all celebrities or all guys. No.
Right.
But there is a certain mindset that it's just because I can, and there's nothing you can do about it. And boy, how do you live with that for the rest of your life? You can't let it stop you. You can't let it keep you down. But it's really hard to deal with.
We're talking guys, but the truth is, Russ, and you know this for a fact. Well, not for a fact, but you know this as far as just certain celebrities out there. There's female celebrities that have that mindset as well.
Absolutely.
But Russ, tell me, if a female said what Trump said, in reality, the real world, a huge percentage of the real world, Russ, would have kind of blown that off. For a chick to say.
Not only that, and I'm not trying to interrupt Russ, but not only is there a double standard here, but I mean, imagine whether you like Hillary or whether you hate her. Imagine if she were married 3 times, had cheated on at least one of her spouses, had various and sundry relationships with various and sundry people. She wouldn't be a viable candidate. And yet here we have Rudolph Giuliani, Newt Gingrich, Donald Trump. These are guys with checkered marriage pasts who have, by their own admission, not been faithful to their wives. And yet they can still keep running for office. People still keep, listening to them, having them on CNN. The double standard lives on.
Yeah, I
jump in.
absolutely agree with that. And I'd like to speak out on another group that is really downtrodden, not just on the theme of viable political candidates. There is atheist. That we can't have a good atheist candidate because it rules it out with almost 60% of the population or better that think that atheists are the lowest form of any type of. Most of the deplorable Trump supporters would rather have a Muslim president than an atheist president.
Well, look at what happened with Bernie. Look at how many people were like, well, what's his religion? What does he believe? And I'm sitting there going, you guys all claim you love the Constitution. Doesn't the Constitution say there shouldn't be a religion test? So whether he's religious or not, I don't care if he prays to Buddha. I don't care if he doesn't pray to anybody. I don't care if he prays to the flying spaghetti monster. Why should it matter?
Hey.
And yet it still does.
Russ.
I mean, I'm a little hardcore. I think it should matter because if the person who's going to lead the country, I mean, and some of them we just have to accept, but it's the same reason I would have, even if I agreed with Mitt Romney, I would have questioned him as a candidate because he at least the people who believe in the 3 big traditional Abrahamic religions have 2,000 years of some kind of adherence on their side. People who buy into like Scientology and Mormonism and more of the New Age, or the newer stuff, are buying into fairy tales that were based on fairy tales, which was based on the original fairy tale, the Old Testament. So
well,
it's
as a friendly Jewish person. Yeah, but as a friendly Jewish person, I kind of don't like to think of the Hebrew Bible as a bunch of fairy tales. I do like to think of it as I don't believe every single word in it, but on the other hand, I find some very good ethical guidelines, and I'm proud of my heritage. That having been said, it shouldn't matter. What should matter is...
You have a very sharp pencil on that because you don't want to believe that it's fairy tales, but you only take some of the good lessons. I mean,
no,
the Hebrew
that's
Bible
not what I said.
Not what I said. things
what I
that you
said.
could. It's one of the worst, horrific pieces of fiction that I can think of.
Okay, but I didn't say that I pick and choose. I said there are a multitude of possible interpretations to any scripture. Okay, even humanists have their own scriptures. It may not be like holy scriptures, but there are certain philosophers that humanists respect. My friends who are Unitarians have certain philosophers they respect. I have certain philosophers I respect. And there are things in the Bible that I respect. I don't regard it as something to just like blindly follow, but it's part of my heritage, and so I respect it. Okay? That's all.
Imagine someone giving that same explanation about their support of Trump.
But see, that I understand. What I don't understand is using that to impose it on others. Like when I wrote my blog post, the last thing I was expecting was some of the hateful comments that I got from Trump supporters. It was like, did I just attack your guy? I don't think there was anything in the blog about your guy. The only time I even mentioned it was like in the second paragraph where I said, hearing all this talk brought back some memories for me. And then I just went on with like why some women don't want to come forward. And I talked about my life in the music industry and the time I was at a job interview and I was sexually, like I had a guy like put the moves on me and lay hands on me during a job interview. And I didn't say anything because everybody in the music industry back then, it was the good old boys network. And if you got a reputation of complaining, you would never get hired. So, I can understand why some people like Trump or like Hillary, or like Bernie, or like whoever. And as long as they're not trying to put me down and trash me, I'm fine. But what I see out of the Trump folks in many cases is this rage where they just lash out. And I'm sitting there like, what did I say in my blog post? I just talked about why some women have a difficult time coming forward because of all the crap they're subjected to. And I don't know how that turned into, how dare you insult Donald Trump? I'm like, how dare I not write a blog post about Donald Trump? It was just bizarre to me. So, I'm not, it's the anger that puzzles me. The fact that people can't have a disagreement without this rage. Support whoever you want to support. I'm fine about it. Just don't tell me that I should be eliminated. Just don't tell me that I shouldn't be here, that I have no right to be here. That's my problem.
I agree with everything you just said, but I would submit that many people get their rage from the model of Yahweh in the Old Testament.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
And he was very rageful.
Yes and no. Yes and no. You can find verses in the Hebrew Bible that are enraged, and you can find verses in the Hebrew Bible that are about love and tolerance and kindness. The word hospitality is mentioned 108 times in the Hebrew Bible. You can look it up. Hospitality, kindness. So, we can have a debate about religion, but somehow I'm not real sure that hearts and minds are going to be changed. I derive a lot of positive stuff and a lot of inner strength from my Jewish heritage. I am fine about people that are atheists. I am fine about people that are agnostics. I'm fine about people that are almost anything as long as they are not forcing me to be that thing. And as long as we can conduct the conversation respectfully. I was hoping, and this is the other thing that was interesting, guys. I was hoping that my blog post would inspire a conversation about what is sexual assault, what is unwanted touching, what is arrogance.
There you go.
Instead, it broke down along party lines. All the women were like, yes, we've been through this, and all the men were like, this never happens. And I was like,
well,
really
that's a great segue because we're down to about 5 minutes of time here, Donna. But that was that's my next question is when it did, what the reaction from, and you just said it, I did anticipate you'd get some females respond back like, yes, been there, done that, we feel it. But I guess I wasn't expecting guys to come back to you with like no, that's not who we are.
They kept throwing things like Bill Clinton, and they kept trying to turn it political, or they kept saying, well, women just make stuff up because they're trying to hurt Trump. And I came back at one of them and said, I've never met Mr. Trump. My blog post was not about Mr. Trump. My blog post was about powerful men who don't respect women. And as far as I'm concerned, you just called me a liar. You just said women make this stuff up. I didn't. I lived it. I lived it for 40 years, trying not to remember it and trying not to think about it. Every time I encountered people like this, I kept hoping that it wouldn't end that way, that people would change their attitude and treat women with respect. I understand not all women are perfect. I get that. Fine, okay? But can't you just read something somebody wrote and react to the argument they're making or the conversation they want to have without turning it into an attack? That's what I found puzzling.
I tell you what doesn't treat women with respect. That's the Old Testament. I'm just kidding.
And in some cases, you know something? In some cases, but
Russ,
it was Russ. It was a patriarchal culture. In some cases, the New Testament wasn't much better. I mean, we could have this conversation on a second wave feminist.
Testament, do you think I like the? You don't think I'm going to defend the New Testament? Here, I'll win the argument for you. The New Testament. The only thing that's worse about the New Testament is that gentle Jesus, meek and mild, comes along and says, "Oh, by the way, if you don't follow the rules, not only will you get killed here, or you have a miserable time here, you're going to burn for eternity afterwards." At least the best thing the Old Testament has going for it is that there's no mention of hell.
Well, as I said, sometime when we both have nothing else to do, we can have that conversation. Please. But see, that's the other thing that happened, is people started just bringing up all kinds of side issues and all kinds of stuff that had nothing to do with, is there really a problem out there where some men really do believe that they can do whatever they want and get away with it? Is that a problem? If it isn't, fine. I guess that what happened to me was just the exception, and all the women that, came onto my Facebook page and said, "Are you kidding me? I thought I was the only one who went through that." Because, see, a lot of people think that they're the only one. And yeah, they'll read about some celebrity or whatever, but I'm just Donna. I'm just an ordinary person trying to live my life. And my sense is, if it could happen to me, it could happen to just about anyone. And as it turns out, it has happened to a lot of people. So now that we acknowledge that it has happened to a lot of people, anybody got a hot suggestion about what we can do about it, or are we going to just go back to calling each other names? That's what worries me.
Stop calling people names, Russ.
But you know what I'm saying. So it's just, I was teaching about agonism today. Are you familiar with agonism? Agonism. Agonism is a theory that we are an argument culture, that we are hardwired to argue, and that some people just argue at the drop of a hat. You know people like this. You say day, they say night. Doesn't matter what it is. You can write a blog post about your favorite band, and immediately it's like, your favorite band sucks. Whatever.
It's my ex-wife.
So, we've all met people like this. And I had a boss like that. You'd come in, he would yell at you. You'd go to lunch, he'd yell at you. You'd come back, he'd yell at you. I mean, it didn't matter what it was. He yelled at you. And you got to ask yourself, is this the best we can do? Are we, in fact, hardwired to just argue with each other all the time? Because that, to me, seems like a big change in our culture. When I was growing up, I don't recall it being as angry and contentious as it seems to be now. And that's kind of disappointing. So thank you for the opportunity to come on and talk about this stuff. I understand it's not what you normally talk about. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time. And I invite people to read the blog post, see what they think of it, and please don't call me names unless you think I deserve it.
Well, I tell you, Russ and I routinely read your blogs, and first and foremost,
you may be the only two who do.
No. I think that's not true. But Russ and I think very highly of you, and
thank you.
I like to sit back because the truth is, you and Russ have these conversations, and it's of course, Russ is not on certain things going to see eye to eye with you on, but you all can talk.
I wouldn't expect him to.
Yeah, and
The only thing I care about is courtesy. As long as we can
know.
exchange ideas without insulting each other. Sometimes hearts and minds just aren't going to be changed, so let's go get an ice cream,
And I never mean to be insulting. Now, I'll never insult the person. I will insult it in ideology. And I would, I'd say both of us would insult Nazism if it came down to being passionate about it. You with more reason than me, obviously. But what I'm saying is that we have to be just like Sam Harris said to Ben Affleck on Bill Maher's show. We have to be able to attack bad ideas.
Absolutely, but you have to attack them in a way that doesn't make the person feel attacked. If all you got, not
that's
like
a slippery
you, Russ.
Slope.
But not like you, Russ. But if all you got is name calling, if all you got is letting the other person know they're stupid, and I see both sides doing this in politics. Okay, if you read anybody's blogs about politics, well, you're a moron. Yeah, well, you're an idiot. Well, and on and on and on. And I'm sitting there going, hearts and minds are not going to be changed by calling each other names. Sometimes it's better to just have the exchange of ideas, admit that you see the world differently, and see if you can find some common ground. Maybe you can, maybe you can't, but you might as well try. It's better than calling each other names, I think.
Oh,
yeah, Russ. Sticks and stones, Russ. They won't break my bones.
When you attack people's deeply held beliefs, they think that sometimes they interpret that you're calling them names, but all you're doing is insulting their deeply held ideology, and sometimes they just freeze up and they're like, and that's when that name calling actually starts, because they don't know what else to do but say, oh, you're wrong, you suck.
So, anyway, let me let you get on with your lives, gentlemen, and thank you so much for having me on. I'm very appreciative.
Thanks,
Donna. You're the best.
Love you guys.
Take care. We'll be in touch.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. Oh, Russ, it's always fun talking to Donna Halper, even though you want to play the Old Testament card on her. Russ.
Well, I mean, not until it's brought up.
Not till
Like, wait a minute. Hold the phone.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? Isn't there a side of you that just is twiddling your thumbs thinking, oh, she's going to bring it up. She's going to bring it up. Oh, there it is. I get to jump right in.
No, not that specifically. Where the thumb twiddling, if it were going to come in, would be, and this is one thing I wanted to say during the thing is, it's not that. It's just it's an identification that a lot of people but I'm a Bill Maher liberal. Donna's probably more of a liberal's liberal. Like a Jeni Garofalo liberal or something. Something where they want everybody to feel good too.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want people to feel good. Matter of fact, I want to take them out of their comfort zone and acknowledge some real truth.
Mm-hmm.
And people that they don't want to acknowledge even nicety, nice truth, let alone the real truth. So the thing is it's like, so what a lot of what this response is to is people who want it to be too PC. I mean, there's a lot of pushback from just normal average everyday people who would normally not support somebody like Trump, that just don't want. They think Hillary Clinton is bringing the PC police in and going to try to change their way of life and this, that, and the other. So part of this pushback is from people trying to take some of these liberal principles and not turn them into liberal principles, but turn them into something completely different, which like affirmative action and political correctness and things of this nature that really upset the base of society. They pushed and taken it a little far, and this is a lashback even worse than it should be.
Good points. Russ, how are you feeling? You ready to?
Yeah, I still have a little bit of work to do and some things to do before I turn in, so I better hop off.
You're going to turn in. You'll have to check out the second segment with Carrie later. Don't worry, Russ. She is, she's just an average girl who probably is going to talk about average things. Probably wouldn't have interested you anyway.
I feel like I'm missing out already.
You're missing out already. All right, Russ. Mikasa, Sukasa, come and visit me. Get well and wish your family well for me, especially Mallory. So have a good night, and I'll entertain Carrie from this point on.
All right.
I could do things. I could do things without you. Sometimes.
I understand. Don't hurt yourself. All right.
All right. Have a good night, brother.
I'll see you, man.
All right, people. Carrie Goforth, fitness model, average looking chick, nutrition consultant. How does it feel to be average?
Well, I guess I wouldn't really know since I'm just average. So like average brain, average look.
I know. Sad, isn't it?
Below average, yeah. If I was below average, I'd probably desire for something more. If I was above average, I would know that I was better than everyone else, I suppose. But
yeah,
I'm pretty content this way.
Yeah, I think you probably have not heard the word average in a while, and that's okay, because based on what your resume, your bio, you've earned where you are today. It appears you've earned what you're where you're at, and we'll get into that. But let me bring on a buddy of mine, Remy Michaels, who is calling from Toronto. Remy, are you there, brother?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you. Carrie Goforth is with us. She's local. She's a fitness model, nutrition consultant. My man Remy, who is calling from the. Are you still at the Toronto Cleveland game?
Yes, sir. Hey, Carrie, how you doing? By the way.
Good. How are you?
Good.
What's the score at the game?
Jays are losing 4-2.
4-2 in the 8th. I see that. Oh my goodness! All right, well, let's. Remy, thanks for joining.
But it was more important. It was more important to talk to Carrie tonight. That's why I'm calling.
I totally agree, and I think because we're not dealing with an average person here. But Carrie, this is how our show, our Monday night show, we talk about any and everything. You probably listened to our first segment where we were actually Russ and I were a little. We had never gone there with the topic that we went with, and the guest, someone based out of Massachusetts, she's got a lot of history. She's good at what she does, and it was a good conversation. But I also like to give props to the people here in Louisville or in the local area with our shows. So you and I came across each other on Facebook, I don't know, several weeks ago, and I thought, man, this would be a cool segment to have you come on, because you got muscles, Carrie, not just
a little, yeah,
a little bit. Give us the Carrie bio real quick.
Well, I'm a nurse practitioner. I'm board certified and also certified in osteoporosis. And I educate patients on osteoporosis, the disease management and treatment with Forteo. It is the only anabolic drug on the market right now that helps you rebuild bone. Although I can't say that for too much longer because it is getting ready to change. In 2017, they're coming out with several new medications. So those should be really exciting. I also am certified in concussion, impact testing for sports-related concussion. And then in the past 5 years, I've gotten into bodybuilding. I kind of needed something after I ended my cheerleading at the University of Louisville. So I started bodybuilding and got into fitness.
I'm a UK fan.
Oh,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Our cheerleaders are way cuter.
Yeah, but who has more national championships?
Cheerleading? I would say that we do.
I don't know. I think both schools collectively are pretty damn good. All right, we're digressing, but continue.
They are. That's true. Yes, and my friend will probably call later to harass me about how good Kentucky is. So I have to be careful.
Do you know? Real quick, Carrie, do you know who Kim Breakmeyer is?
No, I don't think so.
I know she was a former U of L cheerleader. Yeah, former Louisville cheerleader. She, my daughter cheered at Ballard her 4 years there, and Kim was her cheerleading coach there. But anyways, continue.
So I started doing fitness and nutrition consultation on the side and taking on some clients here and there. And a similar situation to your first segment occurred to me. So I was kind of at the top of my game at a really prestigious orthopedic practice, and I had to start at the bottom all over again. So I'm doing those things now, and I'm looking to open my own practice and focusing a little bit more on wellness, holistic stuff, nutrition, bioidentical hormones and such, growth hormone, things like that. And I recently certified, as if I haven't been to school enough, in Botox and fillers and advanced injectables.
Cool.
So that's kind of all.
Now,
and, like full-time mommy, so.
Full-time mommy. Let me digress a little bit. The first segment was pretty heavy for Russ and I, for our show.
It was really intense, yeah.
Yes, it was intense, but it's reality, and I respect that. Again, this all kind of was a fallout from Trump's that hot mic moment, but the fallout is what it is. And Donna in this case wrote a blog and she told her story. Carrie, I can't help to say, and I mean this with all due respect, for you to be who you are, your looks, you have to have felt that kind of pain or trouble where you've crossed paths with some guy that felt that he was the most powerful thing, that whole power trip, and felt like he could have his way. I mean, you did touch on the fact that
it's so different.
Good.
It's so different because I feel like I am very authoritative at times, and I usually don't take shit from anyone. So normally when that happened, I could sense it or feel it coming, and I would pretty well just tell them to go F themselves. But in my scenario, it's a little bit different. It came on slowly. It was kind of insidious. It was a friend, in fact, someone that I worked under and someone that I worked alongside. So it occurred a little bit differently, and it was slower. So it's not something where someone just kind of attacks you, or like it's not like really a rape situation where, they just come out of the blue and, it's not overtly aggressive like that. It's a little bit different. And then she's correct. I read her blog. If anyone else listening has read the blog, or maybe if they haven't, you're right. Like, there's really no right answer whether you report or don't report. In either case, the victim's always wrong. So, and in my situation, they make all these postings. It looks really nice, like they mean well for you. Report any discrimination, call this number, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But the reality of the situation is somebody has to go in a workplace setting, right? So it's going to be the highest person on the totem pole that stays. So in the end, you can't both stay. Don't kid yourself.
I want you to do me a favor.
Would I do it again the same way? I mean, I would totally do it again the same way, but.
Do me a favor, Carrie. This would mean a lot to me. You've got the link to that blog. Go to that blog when you can, or if you want, and acknowledge that just in her comment section that you got to hear some of her on the show, and just comment accordingly. That would mean something to me. I like Donna a lot. So,
okay, absolutely.
Very cool. Very cool. Remy, jump in. You're all into the nutrition thing, the fitness thing, the adventure thing. What's the first, besides let's stay away from Carrie's looks. Let's talk about her skill set. What would be first thing you throw at Carrie, Remy?
Well, it's definitely impressive. Good for her. It's we all go through life and want to make some changes, and she looks like she's made quite a few changes, all in the positive direction. It's a good thing. And
Thank you.
Cool.
And it can only get better. Just to let you know, Carrie, I was listening to some of your background and stuff. Kevin knows this. I was the paramedic and the firefighter for a number of years in Toronto. I'm actually an exercise physiologist and nutritionist. That's why listening to some of the things you're saying kind of interesting. I'm actually considered an expert in altitude. So I'm actually
an expert in what?
Altitude.
Oh.
Altitude training.
I've seen some of that at the gym, actually, where they put on, like, the mask to restrict some of the oxygen. Is that how it works?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I used to train. I go to Colorado quite often to train, and I've actually climbed several mountains for altitude. That's why. Anyways, listening to you is fascinating just to see how people evolve in their training methods and go from one extreme to the other, because it takes a special person to get to the level that you're at. One question I was going to ask you is, when did you start your athletics? At a very young age? How was your background?
Yes, this comes up all the time. My friends and I talk about, like, how some people become very social media and then some people don't. And I think, A, I'm not very good at marketing, and B, I really didn't have a before and after. I started gymnastics at age 5 or 6. I'm a little bit older than what I look, and when I was in elementary school, we had an actual gymnastics teacher that taught our PE class. So every day when you went to PE, you did true gymnastics, the uneven bars, the parallel bars. You climbed a big rope up to the ceiling of the gym. You did tumbling. So I started that very early. Then I got into, like, a multitude of sports. And then I really stuck with gymnastics and cheerleading, and I did that all the way through college. Even still now, I take on some hobbies. I do some MMA and kickboxing, and then I play some sand volleyball and indoor volleyball for fun, although I'm not really that great.
Yeah, but the main thing is, though, your parents were very supportive, obviously, at a young age, right? So that you get involved.
Yeah, I come from a family of athletes. My mom was a dancer. She did ballet, and my dad was a light heavy boxer.
Right. Yeah. I always tell people it always starts at a young age. I actually, it's funny, at the time when it happens, you probably don't like it, but my mother threw me in a swimming pool at the age of 6 months, and I'm not lying to you.
Wow.
My parents always involved me in athletics, and it's funny. I didn't find out for almost 20 years why my mother got me involved in swimming. So my sister and I, both of us, the reason was when she lived in France, she almost drowned, and it was my grandfather that saved her life. So she always said that when she would have kids, she would get them involved in swimming at an early age. So I'm always fascinated when I hear of people that are very physically active, and it requires a discipline to continue. And, it's amazing when you hear that they actually started that discipline at a young age. And in your case, you started it at the age of 5 years old. Incredible.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, as a trainer, I'm sure you hear this all the time. You get people approaching you on a regular basis saying, oh, I want to look like you, I want to do this. And then when you look into their athletic background, they probably haven't done very much. And it's kind of, you have to kind of go to ground zero with them. You know what I mean? You got to start with zero and kind of go upwards, right? Really
it's so difficult. Yeah, I never want to kill anyone, and then you just don't know. I don't want to push anyone too hard.
Carrie, there are federal laws, when it comes to killing, homicides. Just saying.
No one makes me that mad. I mean,
okay.
I said get down and do push-ups. I wasn't
Carrie.
kidding. No, I just, I never know how hard to push someone or if they're really giving me their all. So I actually don't train anyone one-on-one anymore because it's kind of, it's really difficult. And then I couldn't squeeze it in with everything that I needed to do for myself. So most times I really just take on the nutrition role, and I will make them a fitness guide. It goes through, like, the body parts, how to live, whether they want to just have a lean physique, whether they want to have a little more muscular physique. I'll even meet them for, like, a 4-session training package just to show them, like, here's how you work each body group. But, the most part, it's made in the kitchen. So, like, it's kind of like the 80-20 rule. Like, it doesn't matter how much you work out or how much you lift. You just really can't outrun a poor diet. So no matter what they're doing in there, if they go home and they're, stopping at the McDonald's and they're getting 5 McDoubles, like my best friend, then it's just really not going to be effective no matter what they do.
Oh, my God. People still eat like that? Oh, my God.
What? You guys don't do that there?
What's that? Sorry?
Remy's a vegan.
You guys
Remy, aren't you a vegan? Aren't you a vegan, Remy? Yeah,
Remy,
you're a little. You gave up the Golden Arches a long time ago, right?
Yeah, it started off with for health reasons, and then it became ethical as well. You know what?
Yeah.
For me, and again, I don't preach it, but you know what? Everybody reacts differently to things. For me, it made a complete difference.
Now, Carrie, do you still hit McDonald's drive-through every now and then?
No, I actually am not really a fan of any of their food. And I don't like my
Not McDonald's. Fast food. Do you still do fast food?
I'm not going to lie. There's been many times after a show where all I wanted was fast food. So I'm like, okay, come on, we're going to go get a burger. But every time I get to like near the fast food restaurant, I'm like, no, I don't want this. So no, I don't eat fast food.
So once again, proof that there are still poopers in every party. I'm telling you guys.
The last time I tried Taco Bell, it didn't look like the commercial. I mean, it didn't taste like it either. Like, it was terrible. So that's so frustrating.
Did it not agree with you later that night?
No, that wasn't the problem.
Hey, we all do it, Carrie. Women are not excluded. Exactly. I like you already.
I don't dislike the laxative effect. Well, I would prefer real food. I just need real food.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of just good food.
What is good food? Tell me a night, a good dinner night. You go somewhere out. Where's your go-to?
I like a restaurant here, local, Ceviche. They have really good sea bass. Yeah. And I really love their Brussels sprouts.
Their Brussels sprouts?
They make them really well. I could take out on sweet potato and I don't know. I make really nice steak chimichurri, but it depends on what time of the season that I'm in. Like, if sometimes I'm just eating lots and lots of fish and seafood. I really love raw fish. And then I don't do any dairy. We don't do any milk at my house, so I don't let my children have it either.
Really?
But
not even chocolate milk?
I really form of hemp milk. Chocolate hemp milk.
Cool.
But I'm a sucker for cold cereal. Organic, gluten-free, non-GMO. I know, I'm such a loser. Cold cereal. But it tastes really good. I can direct you to the correct brands.
Right now, Carrie, before I during my Monday night shows, actually my podcast shows, anyways, our shows, it's like tonight it's red wine, and prior to you coming on, I was starting to get the red wine buzz. You were starting to kill my buzz with all this, good
How is
eating.
that possible? I told you I'm sitting here with my my Polish vodka and my Arctic Zero cake batter non-GMO ice cream.
Yeah. Now, you know what? This is what will possibly change my buzz direction. What are you wearing right now?
Oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed to say.
No, let me guess. Flannel, a one-piece flannel outfit.
No, I was really going to try to get in the shower, but your first segment became so interesting, and I realized that when I was turning the water on that I couldn't hear, so I'm just wearing my robe.
Oh, right. Works for us.
But listen, I want to hear what Remy eats because he's the nutritionist. So, and I want to hear about
go ahead, Remy.
Follows because I'm a huge fan of the blood typing diet, and I incorporate that into whichever actual diet I'm using at the time.
That's a good. Jump in, Remy.
What do you want to know? As I said,
it's what you eat. Your diet.
It's mostly raw food. That's the way it's basically. So,
Remy, I don't know if Carrie's experiencing this, but you are coming in very low, not very clear.
He got distracted. He was watching the game.
Well, I think it's his location is, if he was at home, we'd have a very good signal, but he's, at the ball game.
Okay, I'll try to yell a little bit louder. Can you hear me now?
All right. There,
yes.
We can. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, I eat very clean. like a lot cleaner than most people. And largely it's because, like I said, just for health reasons, 5-6 years ago, I decided to just change things. And Carrie, you don't know this, but Kevin knows this. I do extreme distance running, and what I mean by extreme is I've done double crossings of the Grand Canyon 5 times, just 48 miles total distance. If you saw what I look like, I don't look like a runner because I'm a lot bigger than the average runner. I'm 220 pounds, and that was the amazing thing. What's that? Sorry?
I said, wow.
Yeah, it's you know what? It's my background. I've been around bodybuilding and that my entire life, but I was a track and field athlete when I was in university and that, so my training principles have continued in that direction. But one of the biggest things when I changed my diet and went raw was like, you know, everybody around me was like, where do you get your protein? Where do you do this? And it's like, okay, and in all honesty, I maybe dropped 5-6 pounds of body weight and got a lot leaner. Which was amazing. But again, as I said, it's a personal choice. It's not. I don't preach it to anybody unless they ask me the benefits, etc. You know, the world is changing too. You know what I mean? Like people are starting to make different choices, things like that. And you mentioned the gluten-free products too. You're gluten-free. That's very important too. I actually went in the direction of gluten-free about 4.5 years ago as well. And for me, it made a big difference. And for yourself and what you do with the bodybuilding and stuff and the modeling, I'm sure it made a huge difference too, because people don't realize the gluten actually bloats you. And when you start to eat much cleaner, which I'm sure you do, etc., you're more sensitive to things like that. And
oh my gosh, insanely sensitive. Like one little bite, and then you're like, why did I gain 5 pounds of water?
That's right. Well, that's why you mentioned the craving, because Kevin asked you, like, if you go out and you do your little binging after your events and stuff like that. Well, that's normal because your body's craving the sodium and it's craving the carbs, right? So
yeah.
You're going to go crazy. It's like me when I finish my long runs. Just to make you laugh here, I told Kevin this, and I don't even eat dairy anymore either. Now it's like coconut ice cream and stuff. But the first time I did the canyon, almost 5 years ago, my biggest craving when I got out of it into the South Rim was at the little town. I had to have Haagen-Dazs, okay? And I literally,
you had IBS so bad.
Oh my God, I literally had 2 tubs of it, okay? And I'm very vascular, so what literally happened, I looked like I was insane, okay? Because my body was absorbing the fat and the sugar almost instantaneously. But then I'll be honest with you, I had insulin drop, right? So yeah, you know what I mean? I'm trying to help Kevin with his diet and trying to switch him up a little bit. Actually, I'm coming to Kentucky in the next little while, so I'm going to be straight out.
Break it. I ain't scared.
Kevin, what do you eat?
You know what? I've got the average build. I've got the dad bod. I've got the grandfather bod. I've got 2 grandkids.
Yes, rock it out.
My take is that I'm on the backside of my life. So, as long as I can keep things physically pretty much average, still a little game. I get it. I keep it enough, I'm not Remy's what? You're a little older than me, Remy, but you're what? 5%, 4% body fat. You look awesome. If I was a dude, I'd be humping on your leg or something like that. But that's not who I am. I still hump on chicks, and I prefer that. And chicks my age, and so it's thanks for the warning. Yeah, but you know what? We'll still all have a good time at the end of the night. And Carrie and Remy, at the end of the night, I will force you all to go through a Taco Bell drive-thru and make you eat something that will just blow out your bunghole later.
If I'm gonna have like IBS and hot shit, I think I might want it to be like bad Mexican or like White Castle.
Yeah. Ooh, White Castle with the big red Coke. Or big red.
Yes, I still remember from back in the day.
Back in the day, big red. I don't know, Remy, have you experienced that White Castle and big red after a night of alcohol drinking? Binger,
Many years
ago. See,
in my travels to the United States, yeah.
Yeah, but I still kind of go there every now and then because it's just that's that's
Every
the
weekend.
protocol with me. Not every
Every
weekend.
weekend?
Not every weekend. Not every weekend. No, but every now and then.
I can't do it
Stop.
because now they have Big Four Burger. Have you been there?
Not the big. What's Big Four Burger?
Aren't you from
What?
from Louisville?
Yeah, you mean Big Four? You mean is that a local name or is that what? What is Big Four
Yeah,
Burger?
it's in Indiana, but it's called Big Four Burger,
Oh.
and they have like
I don't get over to
they
Indiana. I stay on this side.
have a sweet
I stay on
potato.
this side.
They have a sweet potato bun, and they put an egg on your burger, and they got hot sauce.
Oh
and
wow!
avocado.
Wow.
And, yeah, it's totally worth
I
it
hear ya.
if that's the burger. If
Well,
you're
wait a
gonna have
minute, Carrie. Don't you live over here on this side of the bridge, the Kentucky side of the bridge?
No.
Oh, you live in
I live
Indiana.
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I guess I couldn't. You're right. Now look at it. See, This is Remy. This is one time I admit I couldn't go past her profile pic to look down where she lives.
There you go. See?
Yeah, Carrie. If gosh darn you, Carrie, if you could have been like a 5 or a 4, I would have read where you lived.
See, my friend was explaining this to me on Match. I keep saying how this works, and
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What is your status, Carrie? I'm gonna ask. What is your status?
oh, I'm not single. I was just wondering because my friend is on Match,
Okay.
and I was asking like how it works. Do they match you on? Because if I was going to do one, it would be eHarmony. It says on the commercial that they match you on
Yeah.
17 different points. But
No.
Match, it says that there's more second dates with Match. So, but you said that the women on there, you don't even have to fill your profile out. You just put a picture up there, and if you're cute, like your inbox is full instantaneously. So how can
Exactly.
average guys ever meet anyone because the other guys have already like filled the inboxes? So,
that and Tinder. I kind of will.
are you
I'm
on
kind of
there?
loyal to.
Oh
I'm a
my
single
gosh.
guy. I can be
But like-
on Tinder.
But like my friend said, how can you meet someone of good quality when no one's reading any profiles?
Whoa, Carrie. Let's be totally honest here, and Remy, you can chime in too. Right now with social media, if any at my age, and I'll say I'm 49. I've got 4 kids. I've got 2 grandkids. I've been divorced since 2007. Been a few relationships since then, but I'm currently single. When you go onto a site like Tinder, especially the people around my age, it's all understood. Now, there are people that will go out there on Tinder and use it as a quote-unquote dating site. I don't use it as to be blunt, a fuck site. I don't use it as that. I use it as a meet and greet site. If you meet somebody on there, you just, right now in my life, I'm brutally honest. I will be straightforward with who I am, what I am right now. If there's a connection, we'll meet up and just go with the flow. I'm not promoted.
Yeah,
I'm
you have to be
looking.
completely honest.
Yeah.
'Cause that's for like
I'm not.
a
I'm
really bad
promoting.
person.
If anybody says, the chick, it is, and it's all visual. And no matter what anybody says, it's visual. So if the image or their picture appears, more positive than negative, you swipe right, blah blah blah. But the truth is that I'm at my age. I'm gonna go with the flow. I haven't dated. I'm now thinking about it. I haven't dated in years. I'll meet people out and just entertain the notion, but it's there's no, I don't know. I'm just not rushing to looking for that long-term thing. I think if long-term is about me, it'll find me. That's how I see it. And enough of me. Let's get back to you, Carrie. Let's get back to you, Carrie, because you let's by the way, Carrie, I just messaged you, sent you on your Facebook Messenger a couple of things. You'll see those later.
Okay.
You are obviously with your looks, and props to your looks. I mean, you look phenomenal. The body is incredible. You are in a position right now, Carrie, where you are able to, looks like you interact with certain ventures, like you recently signed with Oxygen and Men's Muscle and Fitness, some modeling for some cars. Tell us what the perks are. Straight shooting with us. What have been the perks for you with what you've done? And let's not discount where you're at right now, because that's hard fucking work what you've done to get to where you're at. But let's talk the rewards. Let's props to you for your effort and the time and energy you've spent on it. But this is who you are now. What are some of the things now that the rewards that you're reaping from your hard work?
Well, obviously you said it. First of all, it's just feeling good about yourself and loving your body, loving yourself.
Right.
But it is hard work, and there's not a huge monetary reward for some of this stuff. Granted, most of that modeling was paid. So when I go do something like the infomercial that I shot with Excel, that's paid. Those things are I get reimbursed for that. But some of it's not. So you just kind of go out on a limb and hope that this thing leads to something in the future, and then maybe it'll be a signed contract for some form of reimbursement, or a longer contract, or maybe it'll open a door to something else. A lot of it's just networking. I have the most wonderful photographer in the area, and he just has huge connections. I've used a lot of photographers, and they're all very, very good. But Kevin Talley is really well known, and he has a lot of connections. He used to be a male model. He actually won CoverGirl, forget which year, something like that. I forget which magazine. But so he's decently well known in the modeling industry, and then that opens doors to the rest of us. So I was just lucky enough for him to be interested in me, and he reached out to me for some of his gallery work that we did a couple years ago. And the other stuff is just a lot of networking. I have a lot of really good sponsors, and the benefits of having that, the perks, is that a lot of my show stuff is paid for. So when I'm competing out of state, it's really expensive. So until you're a pro athlete, and as long as I've been doing it, I'm not there yet. I'm very close, but hopefully next season, my coach and I are aiming for a strong next season, since I'll be master's level, so I'm old too. But so the shows, you got the tan, the travel, the hotel, your suit cost, that can be anywhere from $600 to $2,000 just for the suit, and then anything else, your food especially associated with that stuff, and then your show entry fee. So your sponsors luckily paid a lot of that for you, and then I get a lot of free gear from some of my sponsors. So, and then there's some other sponsors out there for athletes, fitness models, and such, and then they'll give you a sign-on contract bonus, of so much $1,000. So.
All right. What's the most risque, if you will, opportunity that you've been landed? Because obviously, I'm just straight shooting. It's you got this. Look, Carrie, let's break it into segments. From the neck up, fucking beautiful. From then go neck down, you're you're in charge. You're the boss. So you've got this total package. I mean, there's got to be people out there, companies out there, whatever, that take it up a notch. Is there something you can tell us, or are you gonna come on? Has Larry Flint reached out to you?
I won't disclose the magazine, but I was asked during the Arnold last year, when I worked a booth at the Arnold for Drop Dead Fit, to shoot for the magazine. And at first I was like, okay, let's go ahead and set up a time and how much the pay is going to be and whatnot. And I did not do it. When I looked at some of the previous shoots that had been done, I did not know that it was porn. I mean, I was like, you have to be kidding. I can't believe I almost went and did this. And not good porn. It was worse than being just naked. The photography itself was Like,
Oh
and
my God.
then they sometimes had the girls wearing like really trashy swimwear, like micro bikinis and stuff. It just looked worse than just being very elegant and naked. It just looked so trashy. And then the location of the shoot would be like maybe in a hotel room in front of the radiator would be in the background. But I had every offer you can imagine.
I can imagine.
The most recent offer I had was to come to Las Vegas and shoot a billboard for a new gym that's opening. I'm still not sure if this is a real offer or not. And so when I was like, awesome, yeah, let you write up a contract and I'll have my attorney look at it and we'll sign it and get back with you about the details of it. And the pay was really great, like astronomically great. So like out of proportion to what it should have been. And so I was kind of already like, I don't know if this is real. I'm probably going to go there and they're going to throw me in a hole and say like it's lotion on its skin. So like I'm not really sure if this is safe. So
yeah.
when he heard Ernie, he didn't get back with me.
What now? Can I ask? Is the significant other on the same page with you, or I mean, does he let you take the lead on this kind of stuff, or does he have a say? Or,
Yeah, no, he's okay with it. If we have to go out of town and travel to do something, like he comes locked and loaded with his pistol just in case. But he's got my back on it. He's okay with it.
And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. All right, so it's safe to say that I'm not going to be renting any of your videos on some on a free internet website, right?
It probably wouldn't have even been free. You would have been mad that you even paid money to look at it. It probably was that poor of quality.
Well, you know what? Here's the perk. Here's the perk of me doing our show is that I require all our guests, if there's anything that they've done on video, that they have to fork it over to us. That's just the trick. You have to submit it. Remy has submitted many videos to us. I only watched the first 2 minutes because he's done at the third minute. So, anyways, you there, Remy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I do have to ask Carrie, for people who are wanting to get into what you're doing, the whole fitness thing.
I knew this topic was going to come up.
Well, then if you knew it was coming up, then obviously you probably have a prepared answer. Right?
I don't have a prepared answer. This is where I'm supposed to be really politically correct and like, yes, everyone.
No. On this show, you shoot.
This is where you tell your 5-year-old that his drawing is really good when you know that it's not.
No, this is where we tell our 5-year-old, son, stop drawing outside the fucking lines. That's our show.
So
it's internet radio.
You can ask Remy as well. Like, these are the only sports like this that are more individual, like bodybuilding, running long distance marathons, where you're like, yes, everyone can do it, and you are really good at this. And like, in basketball, that's not the case. Like, if you're 5'2" and you want to be the center of, some NBA pro team like Miami Heat, like, you just aren't going to be able to do it, okay? So, like, you need to pick a different sport that's more suited to you. Sometimes I wish that money was made from these sports differently so that they would say those things, so that people would know that, like, you know what, you're really awesome and you're doing great in fitness and what you've done for your body is wonderful and your eating habits are great, but you're not made for competing on stage in bodybuilding. Like, that's just a fact, like, never ever. But, like, you can't say that. So you have to say, like, okay, yeah, let's see where your body fits, like, which one of these divisions fits you best, okay, and, like, let's try it. And then 17,000 shows later, where they're still not placing well, or it's a really small show and they're placing like mediocre. Maybe they won, or maybe got second, third, fourth out of 4 people. Like, so then they think they've done really well, and then they take their package to like a bigger show, or maybe a national level show, and they just get stomped. Like, it's money. They don't care who competes. You don't even have to be in shape. Like, you pay so much money to enter into the National Physique Committee, or whatever your federation is called. There's other federations. That's just the main one that gets you to the IFBB pro level. And like, you pay your money, and like, then you're there. Like, you're in the physique committee, and then you can compete. I'm really like torn about this topic because of what you guys had mentioned earlier, like where I train people, or they come in the gym and then they're like, I really want to get into this, and I really do want to help people. I do. As a nurse practitioner, I want everyone to be healthy and well. This sport doesn't actually always make everyone healthy and well. Sometimes it can make you worse. It puts you into metabolic, downgrading, and some other things can happen after a show that are less healthy than maybe the condition you were in before you competed. But the problem is that some people get up on stage that have never really worked hard, that have never really been an athlete, and they want to look good, they want to win a trophy, they're trophy hunting, and they get on stage and they didn't put the work in, and it makes the rest of us that put a lot of work in upset. There's other shows for that. They're called Hawaiian Tropic, or the Hooters pageant, or the car show, but not the National Physique Committee, where it says physique in the name and you're supposed to be a bodybuilder.
Well, Carrie, I was going to say, like, I've been around bodybuilding my entire life. I've known quite a few people that have competed professionally, and I've actually been to the Arnold Classic quite a few times. And I think you'd agree with me on this. Like, a lot of the people that do compete in these events, I think they do so with a false sense. And what I mean by that is, everyone that I've known that has competed and has reached professional status, they always think that they're going to make a lot of money from it, okay?
Yeah.
And as you said, this is not a game where you're going to make a lot of money. Yes, you can get some sponsorship, and, to a certain degree, you'll make some money, etc. But you hit upon something that I've actually told a lot of people. The ones that make the money are the promoters that are promoting these events, and the organizations, because at the end of the day, they don't really care, because it's just a question of the people coming to compete, because it's very expensive to compete, as you would know, okay? And it's actually very expensive to go watch these shows. It's not cheap.
Oh my gosh,
and,
yes.
Yeah. So, to me, I think the ones that are smart with this, and I think, you're moving in that direction, okay, is the fact that, you compete for one reason. If you're doing it for the joy of competing and see what comes from it, fantastic. But you got to have something that branches off from it, okay? If you got an education that can move you into the fitness field, for example, or the medical field, training people, helping people to do something similar, you're already 10 steps ahead of most people that compete. Because, like you said, I've seen people go on stage, and it's like, why are you there? You know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? I guess you can't argue with a person's motivation, because, everyone is different. But they should regulate that.
You can't anyone, but sometimes you want to, give a dose of reality, and it's really looked down on. Like, they don't want you to do that. They want you to open arms, tell everyone that they can do it, and like, sometimes I fall hope.
Well, totally. And you would know this firsthand, that the sport is full of that. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
People
next time just get a little weaker. Next time just get a little softer. Next time just get a little harder. Next time just get a little bigger.
But it also
harder and bigger. There's nothing like those two words to come out of a chick's mouth, Remy.
Yes.
Harder.
The thing, Carrie, you said is that, you know what, like you said, like, a lot of these people have to start, at smaller shows, and then, get up, in levels slowly. But because now there's not as many people competing either. Like, I remember years ago in women's, like, we're talking hardcore women's bodybuilding, okay, where there was only a select few that would make that 10 to 15 that would be competing at the Olympia or even the Arnold Classic. Well, that's even dropped even further now, because to get to that level, okay, yourself, first and foremost, to me, and I could tell when I go to these shows, okay, and I haven't been to any in recent time, but anytime I go, I could tell the difference between somebody who's just a bodybuilder and someone who's an athlete who's in phenomenal shape. And personally, I look at somebody who's an athlete in phenomenal shape as being better off than somebody who's up there for bodybuilding. There's something you mentioned that happens every single time. Every chick I've known that's competed, every guy I know has competed. The minute they get off stage, within a week they look completely different.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's a look you can't sustain. And the number one thing that happens is they lose that discipline because you start craving, you start eating junk. And yeah, you might look good 2 or 3 days after you've competed, but after a week or two, you look like garbage. And then you keep doing this rebounding, which is very hard on women, I might add, to constantly do this, lose weight, gain muscle, lose weight, gain muscle. Well, I hate to tell you, everybody, but your body slows down at 1% per year after the age of 20. So your metabolism, by the time you hit 35, 40, has dropped 50, 20% just normally. And you can't keep doing that from the competition level because, you know what? First of all, it's not healthy, like you mentioned. And you know what? Hey, to each his own. I mean, I think the sport has its limitations, but the people who can branch out from it, like yourself, like you've got other interests, I think you're, like I said, 10 steps ahead of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's a false sense of being rich, and I think that some of social media has played into that. But most of the bodybuilders are living like in an apartment or out of their car, or the amount of supplements that that level of bodybuilder would have to take, or the food itself, or it's just a lot. It's the expense itself. And if they don't have a job, maybe they just train other clients in the gym because they're busy training themselves for half of the day to be that level of an athlete. There's no way that they could carry on a 9 to 5 also. So, I mean, there's just no money. Like, the very few select top people make a lot of money, but how many out of all the people that do it are those few select top people? There has to be a fallback. You have to be prepared for that. And, I want to tell all the young girls, okay, why do you want to do this? And, what else are you going to do? You can't just train and be a professional bodybuilder for the rest of your life. You have to have something else, too.
Yeah, and the other thing you got to factor in too is if you're going to compete at a certain level, there is something called drugs and sports. And my background, actually, I did a thesis at university on the pros and cons of drugs and sports. So I interviewed quite a few professional athletes. I did this a number of years ago at the University of Toronto. And that particular sport, as you said, I could give you names right now of people I know that competed professional bodybuilding, male, in the last 3 years, that spent over $100,000 on growth hormone alone in 1 year.
Ugh.
I believe it, yeah.
Now, the average person doesn't make that much money, okay? Where are they
right.
finding this money? So like you said, they're putting every single thing that they make, whether it's sponsorship money, whether it's money donated to them, whatever, into something that, it's not sustainable forever. So my point is, you got to be smart and know when to leave. That's the hardest thing to do, but that's the smartest. It's like professional wrestling. I know quite a few of the professional wrestlers. I've trained with several of them in Toronto. And, some of the notables are The Rock, for example. I met the guy. He's a wonderful guy, totally cool guy. You knew that he was destined to go beyond wrestling. He knew when it was time to leave. Okay, luckily he got into the acting and stuff like that. But you know what? It's like I said with yourself. You've got the educational background. You've got other things on the go. And those are the things you got to reinforce with your training. You've got the discipline to train. Discipline itself is the hardest thing to learn. It's not something that you can just teach someone. They have to acquire that over time. And that's why I asked you, Carrie, about when you started training, because you set the ground, basically the grounds for your training started at the age of 5. And that's where your discipline started. And, for that you should be thankful, because that's why you've reached that level in training. And, you can take it even a step further. Now, Kevin sent me a picture of what you looked like a few hours ago, and I just kind of chuckled myself off because you're obviously very attractive. Now, the thing is,
she's okay. She's okay.
Yeah, she's not,
average, mediocre.
She's not bad. Yeah.
Somewhere between somewhere between a 5 and a 10.
Okay.
Is that how tall she is?
Okay.
Are you 5'10"?
I'm 5'5".
I'm joking.
She's joking.
But yeah, as far as yourself, you know what I mean? Like, from what I've heard and what I was sent to me, and I glanced at quickly, is you're heading in the right direction. You gotta market yourself. Like, you you've got that attractiveness, you've got that physical stature, which again, as I said, it requires discipline. I try to teach discipline every single day in my training. Like people ask me, how do you run across the canyon? Well, a lot of it is discipline in my training. And you know what? To get to where you want to be, and I'm talking about yourself, and not just myself, is you got to know when not to quit. Okay, and that's the bottom line, because I've known too many people that quit. I've known professional bodybuilders that can't take it to the next level. They've got all the genetics in the world, but they don't have what's in the heart, what's in the mind.
Or the mind. The mind is so big in this sport. Just in general, life. Like, yeah,
the mind.
Just your mental capacity, your ability to, tolerate life and stressors.
Yep, but like you said, you mentioned it. Sorry, Kevin, just want to mention this. You mentioned Carrie too. Like some people will just kind of come to these competitions, and that's all they focus about. They know nothing else. And the sad reality is that is all they know. And you know what? You're going to come crashing to a big, halt when you finally realize that, hey, you may not realize your dream as a professional bodybuilder. You better have other things that you're good at.
Yeah.
And the smart person like yourself, you've chosen to market your look, okay? The fact that you're physically fit, the fact that you can take it to another level. That's discipline. That's rare. For that, you should be applauded. So, Kevin, you and I should both be applauding right now.
Oh, thank you.
Applaud.
I didn't hear you, Kevin. I didn't hear you applauding there.
I know. He said applaud.
I'm applauding. Applaud. Yes. Now, Carrie, when I go, I'm going to digress a little bit. When I'm on your Facebook page, I'm looking at all your pictures. Yes, you're stunning. You're follow me. I'm looking at the Kevin Talley image or picture. Your body is incredible. I have to ask, are the girls real?
What?
Hello? The girls real.
What happened?
Are the girls real?
The ones beside me?
The ones under your chin.
I was like, what are you talking about?
He's referring to the ones under your shirt.
Yeah, your body.
I bought those with my money.
You bought those with your money, and that's fine. But you know what I'm okay with. Your body is killer. But one thing, as you continue with your pursuit of this adventure that you're on, you still look feminine. And one thing that kind of grosses me out when it comes to chicks and the whole bodybuilding thing is that they start not looking feminine. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
obviously those people are not doing it the right way. Is that the best way to put it? And then someone like you, no, they cannot be. You look like you're doing it natural. Granted, you've got breast enhancements or whatever, but if there's illegal substances going into your body, it's not showing up anywhere else because your face, the rest of you looks very feminine. I don't see that when I see female bodybuilders who elect to juice it up or, take the shortcuts. They look like they're getting ready to eat hay through a fence. I mean, that's how they look. But so I guess.
Okay, so in all honesty, it really depends on the person. So and it depends on the supplement that they may or may not be taking. For example, I don't take those. I have some medical conditions. I have really bad kidney disease. I was born this way, and I have diabetes. So I don't fuck with that shit because of my kidneys. I'm already stage 3, and stage 4 is dialysis. So I'm good at the level that I'm at. I'm not interested in being on dialysis. In fact, there was a point in time when I preferred to die than to go on dialysis. But now I have 2 kids, so it seems kind of wrong to say that.
It should. It should.
Okay. That's still in the air. Let's just leave that there for now. So the difference is, though, that some people have a little bit of a more masculine face anyway. So really it's just dependent on, what the person maybe looks like in general. And then, of course, you can change your body shape a little bit. So I'm a little bit of a pear. So naturally I have, a very feminine body shape, like higher estrogen, bigger thighs, hips and booty. And so like if you're more predisposed to that, you can tolerate a little bit more size, I guess. But if you're a little bit more, say, apple shaped, and then the fat is more in your stomach, it comes off pretty quick. Your legs are already skinny, so you're kind of like an egg with toothpick legs. And then once you bring the body fat down, and then you put on a lot of size, you'll be a little bit more masculine because you're putting a lot of upper body size on, but your legs don't keep up, and it's hard to put size on your legs. Then you're going to be more tapered like a man. And that's without any supplementation. If you add any like hormone supplementation, of course, that's going to, perpetuate the issue.
Kevin, can I say something too? I actually wanted to say too, one of the other things that affects women is can make them look more masculine is the constant fluctuation in weight. I've seen a lot of them compete at a certain weight, then off season they gain weight, then they have to diet to get down, and they'll start taking whatever medications they can find in order to drop. So they're on this constant yo-yo. Now, I was going to say something to you, Carrie. I don't know, do you know the bodybuilder Rachel McClish? We're going back a number of years here. You can actually Google her, Rachel McClish. She was featured in Pumping Iron 2, okay? Now, the big thing about that movie, okay, which was the sequel to Pumping Iron with Arnold, was basically the competition between Bev Francis, who was an Australian bodybuilder at the time, who looked like a man, versus Rachel McClish, okay, who was an American bodybuilder who looked very feminine. Now, having seen some of your photos, you have a very similar look to Rachel McClish, okay, just so you know that. And she was a Miss Olympia several times. So you should Google her, Rachel McClish. I met her several times.
I'm sorry.
What's that, sorry?
I'm looking her now.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah.
She had a more feminine physique, okay? She started that whole thing with trying to maintain femininity in bodybuilding versus Bev Francis. You can Google her as well. She looked like a man.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Now, really, you should find it. If you find it on the internet or something, find Pumping Iron 2. You'll have a hoot watching it because you enjoy the competition.
I remember that.
Yeah. But Rachel McClish, I'm going to tell you something. When I met her, what a sweetheart, okay? Totally feminine. Like, she just looked, I can't explain it. You know what I mean? And like I said, I've been around some women bodybuilders that, I'm not a small guy. They made me feel small, okay? So it really, you know what? The whole key, in especially women's bodybuilding, you got to maintain your feminine look you have. So just my little, keep up the good work.
Thank you. Yeah,
Carrie, Carrie, I'm on your Facebook. I'm looking at a June 2011 photo.
Okay.
You're holding a it looks like a pregnancy test kit. Carrie, and then look at her. Maybe she just, good Lord, woman, your body is like, you know what? I'll been your significant other just to high five him because you're just incredible. I mean,
thank
and
you.
the pictures that you all do, the pictures that you do with, like, it's Stephen, who is that? Stephen Talley.
Kevin Talley.
Very Kevin. Very tastefully done. Tastefully done. Oh, they're good. And props to you, dear.
I can't access.
No, props to Carrie. I think Carrie understands. She gets where she's at right now, and it's all about good people around her. So I'm sure when it comes to Carrie, that she's aligning herself with the right people to take the right pictures, to get her in the right events. The thing with Carrie, though, I applaud you on is that, I'll be honest, chicks with muscles is not exactly my go-to.
Your cup of tea, right? Yeah.
It's not. But the thing is with you, I swear, if you're wearing something from the neck up, the truth is, and I don't know if this is respectful or disrespectful, but from the neck up, I do not see you in that muscular sense. it's that once I go neck down, I see it, I get it, and then I respect it. But there's nothing about your face, your whole looks that, I mean, you're a woman is what I'm getting at. And it's
That's a great observation, Kevin.
yeah, that's what I'm getting at. She's stunningly beautiful. And, you know, it's like if Carrie and I were just to go hang out one night and play strip poker, and you know the shark comes off, I'm like, oh, hold on, Carrie. I'm like, your pecs are better than mine. Let's play another game. So.
I have
stunning.
a vision, Kevin. You have a vision, Kevin. You would get your ass kicked.
Go ahead.
That's the vision.
All right. What?
I have a vision that she would kick your ass. She does kickboxing.
You know, and maybe, you know, and I would take one for the team. Let her kick my ass. She's, you know, the thing is that here's the thing is, the truth is when I do associate, and this is me. Whenever I have associated female bodybuilders or female, you know, just anybody who does things to enhance their bodies, I generally see a flaw in that because I see some masculinity involved. And Carrie, I'll be honest, man, I'm like, when I look at you from the neck up, you're fucking flawless. And then from the neck down, I'm like, oh shit, she's gonna kick my ass.
So I have like two body in my head.
Exactly. You know, I may beat her in Remy. I think I can take her in rock, paper, scissors, but not anything else. That body is killer. Yeah. So wait a minute. All right, Carrie, we are officially over past the live part of the show. So if anybody was listening, they have been shut down because our show only goes 2 hours live. So to the show, check us out. To end the show, I have what I call a segment called Round of Shots. I'm going to throw at you, Carrie, 6 questions that are like quick Q&A just to get to know you. Have fun with it.
Okay.
You'll be fine, baby. You'll be fine. And Carrie promised me after the show, especially if you agree that our show was fun and would, you know, that we did you good, you'll share with all your friends. Because I'm guessing you've got other friends in the business that would possibly want to come on and share their stories. You think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we you know, take care of each other. So, all right, Carrie, first question. First concert you attended?
Kid Rock Metallica.
Oh, wow. Was that here in Louisville?
Yes.
That would have been, what, 90, late 90s?
Yeah.
When was that? Ball to the ball, to bang, to bang, Biggie.
My sister was still with her, first.
Up jump the buggy, ball to the ball, to bang, to bang. All right. If Carrie, number 2, if Carrie had a superpower, what would it be?
I think I would be super fast.
Fast?
Fast, yeah, super fast. I need to get shit done and get places quick.
Oh my God. Things to do. All right. Number 3, and I need an honest answer, Carrie, especially since there's 2 guys on the other end of this conversation. What was the last picture you took with your phone?
Oh, my kids' dirt bikes with their lights on them. Sorry,
all right,
not a naked selfie.
Let's do over. What was the picture you took before that one?
I gotta check. Oh, it's probably nothing good. I'm looking. Nope. Still family stuff. Yesterday was Huber's Day.
How many? All right, humor me now.
We went to
How many times do I have to ask this question before I get a risque answer?
Like 6 in.
6 in. All right, now we know. 6 in. God love you, Carrie. Carrie, you don't know this, but you are officially going to be part of the Shooting from the Lip family somehow, some way. Just stay tuned. It's all good. Remy has bought into it. Remy's in it. He's representing Toronto. Carrie will be representing Indiana for her hotness. So, all right. Number 4. What's your favorite phone app?
Oh my gosh, I don't even want to tell you because now everyone's gonna get it. My photographer
Come on,
told
baby.
me it's called Bitmoji, and you can make your own little emoji. Like, so mine's this little Indian girl, and then it's got all these cool things.
Oh, nice. Okay. Remy, what's your favorite phone app?
I'm a pretty boring guy. Mine is the GoPro capture.
The what?
GoPro
what?
capture. You know, Kevin, I take a lot of pictures, okay? So I enhance it.
God, it is boring.
I know
All
it's
right,
boring.
All right.
You like my pictures, though.
We do like your pictures, yes, we do. All right, number 5, Carrie. Is it better to ask permission or beg for forgiveness?
Oh, permission. Unless it's me. And
Really?
then I feel like I should just go do it and then later say sorry.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So you're basically saying you really would beg for forgiveness.
No, I prefer to beg for forgiveness, but if it's my
Right.
significant other, I prefer that he asks me first.
Now let's dig deeper. The significant other, is this a boyfriend or is this marriage? Is this the hubby?
No.
Or what do you
married.
call it? You're not married. Is this a boyfriend?
Because at this age when we're this old, don't you think it seems kind of
I'm with you.
to have like
Carrie, I told you
boyfriend?
my age. I told you my age, Carrie. Tell me your age.
I'll be 35 in a couple months.
Fuck you. You 35? Oh my God. That's bullshit.
I know.
Son of a bitch.
But
Remy
my dad is not married. My dad and my stepmom, I call her my stepmom, they're not married, and they've been together for like 20 years, and I call her
But
my
they're
stepmom
happy.
because I think it's weird.
Exactly.
I think it's
They're
so
happy.
weird to say my dad's girlfriend. Like, you're not his
Right.
girlfriend, you're
Exactly.
6 years old.
Exactly. Good call. Good call. All right. The last question for you, Carrie. If you had access to a time machine and can go anywhere in the past, your living past, or if you wanted to go back to the dinosaurs, where would you go and why?
Oh my gosh, why is that so hard? Can I have 2?
That's what she said.
Who wouldn't want to go back and like redo their high school? Like, I totally want to go back and redo that. Was
all right, you could do that. Whatever. It's your Carrie. It's your time machine. You can go where you want.
But I kind of feel like it would be really cool to go back to the time of like Caesar Augustus.
That's a cool time. You're right. That would have been a cool time. But this is your time machine, so go where you want.
I think I'll go back and redo all of my high school. I'll try not to meet any of the losers that I make.
Cool. Are you high maintenance, Carrie?
Oh yes.
I can
Not on
kind of
purpose.
tell. All right. Can you promise that the next gig that you do, the event you do, that you get me in to check it out?
Oh, my next competition?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet I can get you with the judges. How's that?
Close enough to where if I'm looking at you, it's going to stimulate my body to do certain things.
Like the desire to like be healthy or like other things?
All the above.
She got you there, Kevin. She did.
And my response was, I got her there too. Oh, how about that? Okay, I get it. All right. Man, we are after midnight. It's local time here in the Louisville area. Carrie, before we let you go, share with us all of your social media contacts.
You can find me at Carrie Goforth on Facebook and at Carrie Miss Gaines. That's Gainz on Instagram. And that's all I have right now because I'm old. And by the time I get Twitter or Snapchat, they probably won't be cool anymore.
No, you are cool. There's everything about you that's cool, and and the truth is, Carrie, everything I've been looking at and following you is pretty real, and it looks like you have put in the work to get to where you're at. So, from me to you, congrats. I'd like to throw this out there to you, Carrie, as we continue our trails and our shows with Shooting from the Lip. I think Carrie Goforth would be a nice little pop-in guest every now and then for our show. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah,
we always looking for. We want a personality with some looks and skills, and that's why we have Remy on. We don't like Remy. He's just incredible.
I'm just full of skills. I got so many skills.
He's really smart. Yeah, that sounds awesome. I would love to.
Hey, Carrie, I'm going to follow you on Facebook. Follow me back.
Okay, I will. Absolutely.
Yeah, I can't access right now because if I do, I'm going to lose the call.
Okay.
All right. So thanks to Carrie Goforth, Remy Michaels for joining me on this second segment. People who will pick up the download will hear all of this last bit of information that shut down after the live feed. We still don't know the true answer if Carrie goes both ways. We don't know the answer if Remy goes both ways. So people listen. People keep listening to our show, and eventually we'll find out those stories. We'll find these answers together. Promise
I could tell you right now.
So
I could tell you right now.
No,
when I'm driving, I go left and right.
You go left and right. Yeah. So that's it. So there you go. I like that answer very much. Carrie, thanks for hanging out with the boys. Thanks for hanging out with the boys tonight, and let's get you back on soon to keep this nonsense going.
Thank you so much for having me. I would love to. Talk to you later.
All right. Have a good night, baby. Yes.
Bye.
Remy, thanks for coming on short notice. You bailed me out tonight. Russ was a little under the weather, but you did get to good say. And your Blue Jays did lose tonight. Ugh.
Yeah, I know. People are texting me right now. Fuck off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, brother. Signing out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Good stuff tonight. All right. For Remy Michaels, Carrie Goforth on our last segment, my man Russ Hinkle, and Donna Halper on the first segment. Kevin Hale bidding you a good night and a pleasant Tuesday. We've got a killer Wednesday night show lined up. Greg Unthank and I will be doing the Shooting Stars brand of Shooting from the Lip. We've got two guests coming on. First guest is going to drop a huge bombshell. Tony McElwain, Kirby Streamland. Stay tuned for that. All good. So again, tonight, applause to Russ, Donna, Carrie, Remy, and let's give a shout out to the County Line gigs. On October 21st, Friday night, Dustin Collins will be jamming at the County Line. Then on Saturday, October 22nd, McVey will be the guest and rocking it, country rocking it, southern rocking it at the County Line. So for Kevin Hale, I bid everyone a good night and a pleasant day, pleasant Tuesday. Take care. Happy Tuesday, Louisville.
At no time were any animals or people hurt during this presentation of Shooting from the Lip.